Joining me now is Howard University President Dr. Wayne Frederick. Thank you so much, Dr. Frederick, for being here. First, I want to say, as faculty at Morgan State University, we're tired of you taking everybody. And so we just got to point this out, this tendency that you guys have of snatching the big names. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. First off, I just want to know, what was the thought process? Because most of the rest of the country, this was like bigger than draft day, right? Most of the rest of the country was paying attention to Nikole Hannah-Jones, whether or not she was going to be given tenure at UNC, what was going to happen there. And literally, it was when she announced it, she was not only not accepting the job at UNC, but going to Howard. It reminded me of that scene at the end of Any Given Sunday where Pacino was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to another place and I'm taking Ta-Nehisi Coates with me. Were you guys always in the mix in this situation? How did this happen?
Yeah, I've known Ta-Nehisi Coates for a few years now and developed a relationship. And so in May, after the news broke about the fact that the board at UNC had never voted on Nikole Hannah-Jones's tenure, he introduced me to her and we started a conversation. And I think as we got to know one another, I then started to formulate the opportunity to have both of them come to Howard. I'd been working on Ta-Nehisi for a while, and I saw an opportunity. They both seemed interested, and the issue was to make sure that in coming to Howard, she didn't come, at any less of value, as it were, because I think sometimes that's a narrative as well that also gets twisted in here.
So one other thing I want to sort of discuss with this, because I think this is also really important. As president of Howard University, and you were once medical faculty there have been massive changes in the sort of fortune of HBCUs over just the last 6 or 7 years. Attendance is up, applications are up, the quality of students are up. What do you think has been the catalyst for these kinds of changes that we've seen at premier institutions like yours, like Hampton, like Morehouse, even down to sort of smaller schools? Why have HBCUs been sort of in this renaissance this last 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, I think a few things. One is I think we've been telling our story a lot better because the reality is that we have consistently been supplying America with great talent that has been influencing the country's prosperity, but we have not been taking credit for it. And I think that we've tried to change that narrative. And I think if you look at the current corporate presidents, including, your president at Morgan State and others throughout the country, we've all been very aggressive about that. UNCF and Thurgood Marshall, I think they've also been at the forefront of making sure that people know what they get when they come. And you have very shrewd consumers in terms of students and parents now who are looking for those outcomes. And the reality is, if you want to go to med school and you're Black in this country, Howard University sends more African Americans to medical school than anybody else. So once you start really putting the data out in front of people, they see it. And then we have to perform. Our graduation rates are also up. So while enrollment is up, I want to make it clear the outcomes that we have on the other side have been up as well. And so we've been really working on that infrastructure to build it. And it's good to see students coming. And one thing I must correct you on is I'm still part of the medical faculty. I still operate. Okay. Because I don't want to lose my street cred with my faculty.
Don't want to lose your edge. I want to play some audio from Nikole Hannah-Jones on my colleague, The Readout, Joy Reid's The Readout earlier this week, talking about the influence of Howard and her decision. Get your thoughts on the other side.
Howard University has played, of any kind of academic institution in this country, played the largest role in Black people achieving rights of any institution in this country.
The political order in this country is predicated on a bedtime story. They justify the anti-democratic power that exists in this country.
I want to point out to our audience that tomorrow, Ta-Nehisi Coates and Nikole Hannah-Jones will be interviewed tomorrow by Tiffany Cross on Cross Connection, 10 to 12 Eastern. Make sure that you will catch that in the morning. But Dr. Frederick, I want to add to this, Nikole Hannah-Jones talks about how HBCUs have been at the forefront of some of our greatest thinkers and some of the changes and everything else like that. Do you find that some of these outside arguments about critical race theory and everything else like that, are they actually seeping in to a prominent HBCU campus, or are we kind of looking on the outside saying, why are these people debating things that we know to be facts already at our institution?
I think you bring up a great point. One of the things that I encourage my students to do is to come and to question the knowledge. Our motto at Howard is truth and service. We're trying to give you that truth in the classroom, but we also want students to be independent thinkers, to be critical thinkers. And part of it is for them to come and question whether these things are true or not. And for that matter, to come up with their own theory if they find it not to be true. The thing that is different, I think, at Howard or any other HBCU is we're willing to confront that truth. We're willing to expose it for what it is, and we're willing to change the narrative if we find it not to be true. And I think that that's what our higher ed institutions should be about. And I think over the years, that's what you've seen at HBCUs, and that's what has led to major change. So when you look at Brown versus the Board of Education and those types of changes came out of that deep, strong connection to the debate that we were willing to have in order to make the change that was necessary.
Dr. Frederick, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. Congratulations on those fantastic hires. I'm sure all the students are going to be thrilled this fall.